Africa is frequently left out of mainstream historical accounts, with attention often directed toward the legacies of European, Asian, or Middle Eastern civilizations. Yet Africa possesses an extraordinarily rich and intricate past, marked by the emergence of influential empires that not only shaped the continent's own trajectory, but also left their mark on global history. The continent's story is woven from a vast array of cultures, societies, and kingdoms that have flourished and faded over thousands of years. While some African empires remain well known among Africans today, others have faded from collective memory. In this in-depth look, we will traverse the ages to rediscover the histories of some of Africa's most significant empires, tracing their origins, periods of greatness, and eventual declines. If you find this journey informative, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to support our channel's growth. Your engagement is invaluable to us. Number 15. Ancient Egypt, the birthplace of civilization. Our exploration of Africa's past begins with ancient Egypt, one of the world's most renowned civilizations. Nestled along the fertile banks of the Nile, Egypt arose as one of the earliest centers of human civilization around 3000 BCE. The Nile's reliable waters were vital, sustaining the population and enabling transportation. Egyptians established a sophisticated society, complete with a rigid social hierarchy, remarkable achievements in art and architecture, hieroglyphic writing, and a deep spiritual tradition. The Old Kingdom, 2700 to 2200 BCE, was the era of the Great Pyramids, including the iconic Pyramid of Giza, one of the ancient world's 7 wonders. Pharaohs, regarded as divine rulers, wielded absolute authority, supported by an efficient bureaucracy. The Middle Kingdom, 2055 to 1650 BCE, saw renewed stability and cultural growth. Egypt encountered difficulties during the Second Intermediate Period, when the Hyksos, a foreign group, seized control of parts of the land. The New Kingdom, 1550 to 1077 BCE, marked a resurgence, with Egypt expanding its territory and influence. This era featured celebrated rulers such as Hatshepsut, Akhenaten, and Tutankhamun. During the New Kingdom, Egypt extended its reach into Nubia, modern Sudan, the Levant, and Canaan. The period also saw the creation of the celebrated Book of the Dead, which provides insights into Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. Egypt's decline began during the Third Intermediate Period, 1077 to 656 BCE, as foreign powers encroached on its territory. The Assyrians and Persians, among others, eventually ruled Egypt. Despite its decline, ancient Egypt's achievements in science, art, and architecture, as well as its enduring cultural legacy, remain influential today. Number 14. The Kingdom of Kush, Egypt's southern rival. While Egypt's story unfolded in the north, the Kingdom of Kush, located in present-day Sudan, developed as a formidable African civilization with deep connections to Egypt. Sometimes subordinate to Egypt and at other times its conqueror, Kush's history began around 1070 BCE during Egypt's Third Intermediate Period. The Kushites developed their own distinct culture and language, while also adopting many Egyptian customs and religious beliefs. Kushite rulers took on Egyptian titles and constructed pyramids inspired by those in Egypt. The 25th dynasty, 760 to 656 BCE, was a highlight when Kushite pharaohs, known as the Nubian pharaohs, ruled over Egypt. Piye, the most renowned Kushite king, conquered Egypt and established this dynasty. Under Kushite rule, the kingdom reached its greatest power, even launching successful military campaigns in the Levant. However, this dominance was short-lived, as the Assyrians eventually defeated the Kushite rulers and reclaimed Egypt. The Kingdom of Kush persisted for centuries afterward, though its influence gradually waned. Number 13. Carthage, the maritime giant of the Mediterranean. Moving west along Africa's northern coast, we encounter Carthage, a major maritime power based in what is now Tunisia. Founded by Phoenician settlers in the 9th century BCE, Carthage quickly became a dominant trading center and naval force, controlling territories across North Africa, Sicily, Sardinia, and parts of Spain. Carthaginians were expert sailors and merchants, building extensive trade networks throughout the Mediterranean. Carthage's history is defined by its rivalry with Rome, culminating in the Punic Wars. The First Punic War, 264 to 241 BCE, was fought over control of Sicily. The Second Punic War, 218 to 201 BCE, saw the legendary general Hannibal lead his army, including war elephants, across the Alps into Italy. Despite remarkable victories, Hannibal was ultimately defeated. The Third Punic War, 149 to 146 BCE, ended with Carthage's complete destruction by Rome. The city was razed, its people killed or enslaved, and its lands annexed. The fall of Carthage marked the end of a major African power in the Mediterranean. Number 12. The Kingdom of Axum, the Christian Empire. Our journey continues to the Horn of Africa, where the Kingdom of Axum arose in what is now Ethiopia and Eritrea, becoming a powerful regional force. Axum's legacy is distinguished by its fusion of indigenous traditions and early adoption of Christianity. The kingdom's ascent began in the 1st century CE, propelled by its advantageous position on the Red Sea, which enabled it to dominate crucial trade corridors linking Africa with Arabia and the Roman Empire. Axum's prosperity was deeply connected to its control over the commerce of ivory, spices, and other prized goods. A landmark event in Axumite history was its conversion to Christianity, which occurred in the 4th century CE under King Ezana. This transformation was pivotal, establishing Axum as one of the earliest Christian states in the world and profoundly shaping the region's spiritual and cultural identity. The kingdom flourished during the 4th and 5th centuries CE, expanding its reach into the Arabian Peninsula, as well as parts of present-day Sudan and the Nile Valley. King Ezana, regarded as Axum's most influential ruler, is remembered for his inscriptions in Ge'ez, the ancient Ethiopian language, which offer valuable historical and religious insight. Axum's influence extended beyond Africa. Its rulers even launched military campaigns across the Red Sea into Yemen, aiming to control vital maritime trade routes. Notably, King Caleb led a major expedition to Yemen in the 6th century CE, with support from the Byzantine Empire to protect Christians and install a loyal viceroy, securing Axumite interests in the region. Despite these achievements, Axum began to wane in the late 6th and 7th centuries CE. Several factors contributed to its decline: overexploitation of agricultural land, incursions by neighboring groups such as the Bedja, internal autonomy granted to local chiefs that sometimes led to rebellion, and most decisively, the rise of Islamic powers in Arabia and North Africa, which disrupted Axum's access to Red Sea trade. As trade diminished, the kingdom's economic base eroded, and its political center shifted southwards. By the late 8th century, the old Axumite Empire had effectively ceased to exist, although the city of Axum retained its religious significance. The territory formerly ruled by Axum later evolved into the medieval kingdom of Abyssinia under the Solomonid dynasty, whose rulers claimed descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The enduring Christian heritage of Axum lives on in the Ethiopian and Eritrean Orthodox churches, a testament to the kingdom's lasting cultural and religious impact. The Kingdom of Zimbabwe, located in southern Africa, is renowned for its impressive stone architecture, particularly the city of Great Zimbabwe, which served as the kingdom's capital. Constructed between the 11th and 15th centuries, Great Zimbabwe stands as one of the largest stone complexes in pre-colonial southern Africa. The The city is distinguished by its massive stone walls, towers, and a series of enclosures. While historians debate its precise functions, it is generally believed that Great Zimbabwe operated as a hub for trade, religious activities, and governance. The kingdom's wealth was largely derived from its control over trade routes dealing in gold, ivory, and other valuable goods. Strategically positioned along these routes, Great Zimbabwe enabled the kingdom to accumulate significant riches. Additionally, the kingdom maintained a strong military presence and cultivated robust relationships with neighboring states. The reasons behind the decline of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe remain uncertain. Scholars suggest several contributing factors, including environmental changes that reduced grazing land for cattle, depletion of gold resources, and political instability. Some theories also propose that Portuguese traders may have disrupted the kingdom's trade network. Great Zimbabwe itself was a major urban center, housing an estimated 18,000 inhabitants at its peak. The city's architecture, including the Great Enclosure with walls reaching up to 11 meters high and stretching approximately 250 meters, is the largest ancient stone structure south of the Sahara. The kingdom's trade extended far beyond its borders, evidenced by discoveries of Chinese porcelain, Persian bowls, and Arabian coins at the site, indicating extensive international commerce. The Kingdom of Zimbabwe emerged from the cultural and political developments of the Shona-speaking peoples, particularly the Kalanga subgroup. The kingdom built upon the earlier traditions of the Kingdom of Mapungubwe, refining stone masonry techniques and expanding territorial control. At its height, around 1400 CE, Zimbabwe dominated the region economically and militarily, exacting tribute from about 150 smaller allied settlements. By the mid-15th century, internal strife, resource exhaustion, and the rise of neighboring states such as the Kingdom of Mutapa led to the abandonment of Great Zimbabwe. The Mutapa Kingdom, founded by Prince Nyatsimba Mutota around 1430 CE, gradually eclipsed Zimbabwe's influence, marking the transition of power in the region. Today, Great Zimbabwe stands as a testament to the architectural skill and socio-political complexity of this medieval African kingdom, reflecting a rich heritage that significantly shaped southern Africa's history. The Kanem-Bornu Empire emerged around the 9th century CE, initially centered near Lake Chad. Founded by the Zaghawa people, it was ruled by the Saifawa dynasty, which established a centralized monarchy with the king known as the Mai. The empire's first capital was Njimi, and later the center shifted to Bornu after the 14th century due to invasions. Kanem-Bornu controlled vast territories across what are now Chad, Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger, and parts of Libya. The empire's strategic location allowed it to dominate key trans-Saharan trade routes, facilitating the exchange of goods such as slaves, ivory, and cloth between sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa, and the Arab world. This trade brought considerable wealth and helped spread Islam throughout the region. The Saifawa rulers embraced Islam from the 11th century onward, making it the state religion and inviting Islamic scholars and traders, which deeply influenced the empire's culture and governance. Kanem-Bornu reached its peak in the 16th century under Mai Idris Aluma, who expanded the empire's territory and introduced military reforms that strengthened its power. Despite this, the empire faced persistent challenges, including internal dynastic conflicts and external pressures from neighboring states. In the late 14th century, the Bulala people forced the Kanem rulers to flee westward, leading to the establishment of the Bornu Empire, which lasted until the late 19th century and eventually became larger than the original Kanem state. The decline of Kanem-Bornu in the 19th century was accelerated by internal strife and the growing influence of European colonial powers. The empire fragmented into smaller states and was gradually absorbed into the colonial territories established by European nations during the scramble for Africa. Remnants of the empire's political structures, such as the Borno and Dikwa Emirates, persisted as traditional authorities within modern Nigeria. The Swahili city-states, located along Africa's eastern coast from Somalia to Mozambique, were independent trading hubs that flourished due to their role in Indian Ocean commerce. Cities like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar thrived by connecting Africa with the Middle East, India, and Southeast Asia. Their culture was a unique blend of Bantu, Arab, Persian, and Indian influences, with Islam playing a central role. Wealth from trading gold, ivory, spices, and slaves made these city-states prosperous. The arrival of the Portuguese in the 16th century and later European powers disrupted their dominance, leading to their gradual decline. The decline of many African empires coincided with the onset of European colonialism, which profoundly reshaped the continent. Driven by imperial ambitions and resource extraction, European powers partitioned Africa during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, often ignoring existing ethnic and political boundaries. This resulted in the loss of sovereignty for many African states and ushered in a period of foreign domination marked by exploitation, cultural suppression, and resistance. The legacy of colonialism continues to affect Africa today. The mid-20th century saw a wave of decolonization, with numerous African nations gaining independence. These new states faced challenges such as nation-building, economic development, and managing ethnic divisions left by colonial borders. Leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana, Jomo Kenyatta, Kenya, Patrice Lumumba, Congo, and Nelson Mandela, South Africa, became symbols of African self-determination. Post-independence Africa also grappled with political instability, economic difficulties, and Cold War pressures. For more of this history, please follow us, share our work, and subscribe to our channel.